Guess who's back?
Yo.
Back again. Scone T. Back again.
What's up, y'all? Tell a friend.
Tell a friend.
I want must go to just go to just go to just go to just go to.
What?
I want must go to just go to just.
Stop it. Stop it.
I want must go to just go to just go to.
Yes.
Just go to just go.
What are you drinking?
Tea podcasting.
What are you drinking?
Ooh, is that pretty good, dude?
No, it's terrible.
What?
It was awful.
Awful. You don't feel like awful is strong. Are we on speakers right now?
Nope.
Are we on the rest? We're not on the rest. Okay, perfect. Wow, awful. I don't know. I watched the behind-the-sscenes 1998 video about the making of the
Welcome to
Baby
Scone
Back
T.
Ribs jingle, and it's so fucking good, dude. I can't stop thinking about it. What'd you ask me?
I didn't ask you. I asked you, what are you drinking?
Oh, I am drinking some Inclusivo Tequila, El Amor El Mundo. It's got a Pride Agave on it. Shout out Pride.
We've missed the last 2 weeks together. I was on vacation, and then tons of fun went to Disney. I did something fun, and he did something miserable.
Me and Hanny had a great time together, and no, Disney's not miserable, dude. Disney is quite fun. I love me some Disney. What is this right here, Matthew? Are these the? Okay, these are from the Trilogy.
Oh, these are mine?
These are from the Trilogy?
Oh, are you doing it? Disney doing it too?
Oh, we go 1, 2, 3.
No, for sure. Okay,
sharing.
so welcome to Scone T.
One Musco.
God, I did not miss you at all. Not even in the least. Welcome to Scone T. We are live every Wednesday from Oliver Twist on Perkins Road in Baton Rouge. So what is it, 1, 2, 3? Or got it.
1, 2,
so
3, left to right, just like we read. We're not Hebrew.
So,
at least not that I know of. L'chaim.
Scone T. I am so fired up about this.
Yeah, fuck
live
Tennessee, dude.
Live every Wednesday from Oliver Twist. Thank you for watching at the Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube or Facebook page. If you're on demand, thank you as well. But you can join us live every Wednesday here on location at 7 p.m. Central or on the Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube or Facebook channels. We'll talk sports. We'll talk booze. One of the great things about coming to Oliver Twist is every week we have a break-even bottle where they will offer pours of a rare or allocated whiskey at their break-even price. Today, though, there are 3. What we have in front of us is the 4-Gate Bluegrass Trilogy. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. So how was your vacation? I don't care.
It was cool, man. Yeah, I mean, there's not much to say. It was fun.
Yeah, I don't actually care.
Okay, I'll say one thing.
No, but I don't care.
If some people do care about the new things at Disneyland, they have the Marvel Avengers thing, and there's a new Spider-Man thing where you ride in a little car, but you put these glasses on, and I don't know how it does it. It's pretty fucking cool. Like, when you shoot your webs, you don't have anything on your hands, but it actually goes, and you can, like, pull things and everything. So it was cool, man. It was a very fun trip. I love Disney. I'm a Disney fucking nerd right now, as long as my kids are young. And also, I'm fucking hyped because today was episode 5 of Obi-Wan, and it was so fire. It was amazing, but I'm not going to say anything about it, so we can move on. What up, Hunter? What up, Jeff? What up, Grant? What up, David? What's happening? Raymond, Craig Duga, everybody in the chat, hope you're having a wonderful day.
Oh, look, food. Oh,
Big Doug, I will try to keep an eye out
crab claws
for a Wet Willie attack. I didn't tell that story on this show. I was at Ivar's for a Pelicans playoff game a few weeks ago, and some college-age kid gave me a random Wet Willie and thought I should be cool with it.
That's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, right? Like that's fight worthy. Like,
no.
I had to do math in my head of being like, this is not worth it, a little bit like out of principle. Do I need to like punch this dude just to be like, hey, this is not acceptable? But obviously I did the math and it was not worth it, but just wild to get bombed with a random Wet Willie.
From a total stranger.
Total stranger.
Someone put their saliva in your ear.
Yes.
Like, you know me well enough now.
Yes. You might have flashed out and done it, dude.
Might have?
I just remember, I mean.
Might have?
Like, he tried to do it too, like, you know, you tap someone on the shoulder and you're on the opposite side. He tried to be slick. And I just snagged his arm, and I was so shocked. I was like, wait, huh? Like,
what did he say?
Are you fucking kidding me? And then he started clowning me for being mad. Call me a douche. I'm like, what? Dude, you can't do that. I was like, you can't fucking do that.
He'd have bled. Like, he might have in turn beat my ass, but he would have bled.
No, this guy was not going to beat anybody's ass.
Well,
but it's not even about that.
It's
just like, I mean, dude, I wasn't trying to go to jail or anything, but sheesh.
You're not going to jail for that.
Hey, I did. I guess it's assault on him if he's giving me a Wet Willie. I'm going to try some of these crab claws with the mic right next to my mouth.
Yeah, pull a Jimmy out. At least eat so you can't talk.
Oh, yeah, though.
Oh, my God. So you can talk with food in your mouth.
Well,
this remains the worst podcast ever.
Yep. Good. Good.
Get
Banana. Remember that? You should, because Blue Bayou's opening back up. I'm hyped. You know what else is opening back up? Murphy's. I never went to Murphy's. Were you ever a Murphy's guy, or is that before your time as well?
Murphy's was closed by the time I was in school.
They say they're going to try to appeal to the old crowd while also, getting the college youth, which I don't believe that. I think that's just talk. They're just going to try to get the kids in there. But, yeah, man. Shout out Murphy. Shout out Blue Bayou. I'm excited to do a little Blue Bayou this year.
Yeah, nostalgia doesn't work for a college bar because everyone that would be nostalgic about that college bar are now fucking 50.
Yeah, I think
anybody that's in college doesn't give a shit that their parents went to Murphy's 30 years ago.
Well, that's why I ultimately think it's not going to be that. They're just going to try to make it cool for the youth.
Just make it a bar.
But, hey, you could make it like a retro vibe if you wanted to. 80s and 90s shit is in. You want to make like a straight 90s bar? Alex Godet says, volume still sucks, but glad show is on. Sounds good in my ears. Hey.
Our mics can go louder.
All right, Matt. Whoa, okay, hey now. Hey, okay, yeah, that sounds
Just turn
good.
the headphones down.
Yeah, I think that sounds good. Hey, okay, so we have right now, wait, hold on, let me look up exactly what these are so I don't get this wrong. We have the Foregate Bluegrass Trilogy. These are 3 bottles made by Foregate, okay? And we're talking $10 pours tonight. These are pours that are normally $35 here. Come out here tonight, the break-even bottle, ask for the Trilogy. Come get some of these pours. Okay, here we go. Matthew Godwin says, let's go. Can I get a cheers for my first child being born on Monday or Tuesday of next week? Love the show. Absolutely. Matthew Godwin, cheers to you and your baby. And we're going to enjoy some Foregate Trilogy number 1.
Are we going to do?
That's perfect, they said. Volume's perfect now. Great job, Moose.
Okay. So here's what I would like. I would actually. These are aggressive pours for a taste test. I know,
I love it, dude.
I'm actually pleasant surprised.
See, look, you dress for the job you want, you pour for the glass you want. They know how I pour, and look at what happens now, dude.
So the Foregate Trilogy it's very rare. It's very hard to find. They're all of their barrels are charred differently there on site, so they finish each of them differently. So each one should be a different experience. They're a different proof.
Oh,
so it's.
So do we stick and finish one before we go to the next?
No. I want to try, and then you go back and either confirm or disconfirm your initial feeling. This is probably terrible for people who are listening on demand. Like if they're.
Well, we haven't really said anything of significance yet. Like maybe just keep my baby back ribs thing I did, and then like cut everything else, and then we can start the pod like right now because now we got some people
2 and 3 have nothing on the
out
nose.
The chat.
One is the only thing I get anything on the nose.
Hey, by the way, y'all, like it. Share it. That all helps and everything. And then if you put your questions in, I will be logging the questions throughout the show from the YouTube chat. And at the end of the show, we will get to as many as we can. Here we go. Jerry DeLucky says, cheers, my brothers. Having a pour of Weller Special Reserve, and then in honor of all those who like water parks, T-Bob, I'm going to take a piss in my neighbor's pool. Cheers to you, Jerry. You should.
What's the deal with the water park thing?
I was just pumped. I was talking about Blue Bayou this morning. Somehow I like water parks. Somebody obviously brought up the counterpoint of, aren't they kind of gross because there's piss everywhere? And I said, any public pool that you're in is filled with piss. And, in fact, when you're at like a neighborhood pool,
Muso today on AFR,
the volume is lower, so it's just as much piss.
Overrated, underrated, brought up water parks. And I said water parks. I said
are underrated.
I said I'm not even answering your question. No, that was about adults bringing a baseball glove to a game. But with water parks, is that they're horribly overrated. They're unsafe. They're unsanitary. There's literally nothing there that I want. I don't want to go bathe in someone else's piss.
Oh, what about a great splash pad? So my point is,
No
you don't like public schools, you don't like, wow, that guy, that'd be an aggressive take. You don't like so you don't like public pools in general.
Hell no.
Oh, okay. Well, see, I'm cool with public pools, and I like water parks, and I freely admit that, I'm swimming in piss, but that's what the chlorine's for. And time to time, I'm adding to it.
I don't care that there's chlorine. I'm still not interested. If I just came and pissed in your bathtub and said, go take a bath in my piss, but I threw a chlorine tablet in there, you hopping in there?
I hope that the volume of water from your piss to bathtub ratio would not be equal to the amount of piss in the public pool and or water park. But, hey, man, it's true. But you know what they say, dude? Ignorance is bliss. Like, if I saw you piss in my bathtub, that'd be gross. If I didn't see you, I may not know. Unless then I'm like, wow, my bathwater tastes like chlorine or smells like chlorine. Then I'm going to have questions. But you do get the point. So no, you just you accept it as truth, but you don't really think about it. And then you're like, oh shit, look, I'm in the wave pool. Look at these waves. Oh, I'm in the lazy river. Just floating, bebopping around. Oh, look, I'm going to go down this huge slide. Oh, my stomach's right there. Oh, I'm in the water. Oh, it's great. Splash pad, pirate ships. Love it all. Cannot wait.
Yeah, I'm going 1, 3, 2. I want to try 3 again. 2, I think.
I'm going 3, 6, 9.
Damn girl fine. Baby, come and sock it to me one more time. Okay.
A man of culture.
Get low. Get low, get low, get low. To the window, to the wall.
Well, I will say this. I don't know much about this stuff, but number one definitely does have the biggest effect on my nose or whatever you called it.
Yeah, your nose.
All right, you want to start the pod?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. I'll let you bring us in.
So none of this is going on the pod. So none of this is going on the recorded pod.
Or we could throw it on the end, like for an Easter egg. I don't know if we should start the show like this. It's been a very visual gag-based thing thus far. It's up to you, though. I mean, I do feel like I offered quite the eloquent soliloquy on water parks and pools. So, I mean, do we really want that to be lost to the ether? Even though it's not technically lost because it's on the YouTube on demand.
That's true. All right, big shout out to everybody who's watching. Peggy Allen, E-Rock's watching. Kelly Presley, Jennifer Bunnell, Joseph Manzella, Andrew Brister, Fred Schott. We appreciate y'all. Do us a favor if you're on Facebook, share the post. If you're on YouTube, please smash that like button and share as well. Subscribe up to the 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel.
Yeah, so, and you know what? You can even subscribe to AFR's 2 channels and OTB's 2 channels. How about that while you're over there?
When last we were together, LSU baseball was preparing for the SEC tournament. I was very adamant that LSU would host. They did not. Talked about that last week.
Better move by you escaping the sort of Damocles there.
No, I owned it completely. And I'll say now, which I'll tell you since you're here. We weren't here all together last week, but I didn't talk about it. What I'm very comfortable saying is, not that any of this matters at any point now, but just to tie it together. The Wednesday after LSU was swept by Ole Miss, the selection committee had a Zoom call, and the result of that call was that LSU was the 16th seed. After being swept by Ole Miss, the committee had LSU 16.
Yeah.
Subsequently, they swept Vanderbilt, a top 5 RPI team on the road, and I was told if they had won 2 games at Vanderbilt, they were going to host. They swept and then beat Kentucky in their first SEC tournament game. So, I thought at that point, they were going to be a lock. And
well, they got a better draw anyway.
I don't know. I would always say it's just better to be at home. But either way, it's what it is. It was disappointing.
They didn't have the pitching.
It's disappointing it went the way it did. And you got a good lesson in what you need to do to build up your roster to be able to make a run to Omaha. But even still, you were 3 wins away from the College World Series. And now the roster purge begins, and we found out Dan Fitzgerald won't be back. He's taking the head coaching job at Kansas, so he's the recruiting coordinator. Came in from Dallas Baptist with Jay Johnson. So it's going to be a really transformative offseason because, remember, rosters are going from 40 to 35 because they were expanded because of COVID.
Yeah.
So you're already taking away 5 spots.
Oh, wow.
You've got the handful of guys that have exhausted their eligibility. You got Fontenot, Vittmeyer, McHale, Tyler McManus, Schaefer, the lefty from Southeastern. So those 5 are gone. You got a handful of guys that are going to be drafted and signed. Barry, Doty, likely Raiselman for sure, Gervais likely as well. And then, last Friday, Terrio and Ronnie Rance were in studio on AFR. They both sort of just hinted that Drew Bianco, who has another year because COVID, he's going to actually go to Ole Miss and spend his final year there with his dad.
That kind of makes all the sense.
Yeah, it makes some sense. Now we've seen Cranford, Holt, and Gio all enter the portal. Basically, you're going to have more than half of your roster turnover this year. So it is going to be a drastically different-looking roster next year for LSU as opposed to this year. So Jay Johnson's got a lot of work to do, and now he's got to replace Dan Fitzgerald.
So what did you think about what do you think about the pitcher that we just picked up? What, 2-time Big East pitcher of the year? I mean, my very fence-sitting, mediocre, no real value take was that, look, I don't know the ceiling on this guy, so I don't know if he's like Friday night, but I know you don't get worse when you add an arm like this. But what do you think about him?
So I asked a scout, buddy, and I said, why? So this guy's a 2-time Big East pitcher of the year. Why is he not going pro? I mean, he's obviously a very accomplished starting pitcher. And he said his stuff is just a little short. So if you're a scout and so basically like his dollar value might be, he told me he was like maybe he would offer like 100 to 125 for a guy like this to sign. So if you're LSU, theoretically you should be able to cobble together enough of an NIL opportunity to say, look, take this money, come play at LSU.
And probably not that much, but enough.
Enough. Try to win help us win a national championship, pitch in at the greatest, most historic program in the country, and then go pro next year.
Yeah. Prove yourself in the half of the conference that has 4 teams in the College World Series, not including the defending national champions
or the defending national runner-up. I mean, it was State Vanderbilt last year.
That's right.
I
was talking about just the West, but yes, or Florida,
and the consensus number 1 team all year. Yeah. So but I think that's the sell, right? So you bring in Dylan Brock. I can't tell you that I know a ton about him. I've tried to watch some video. I've asked a lot about him. He's a weekend guy for sure. I mean, if he's your Friday night guy, remains to be seen. But you didn't have a rotation this year.
No.
You had no rotation.
And it finally came. And you know what? That's why you were 10-16 against quad 1 teams during the regular season, right? And bad defense, but obviously one just really exacerbates the other. And then that's why you ran out of gas against Southern Miss, right? I mean, I want to say going into the final game, I can't remember how it broke down in game number 3, but over the weekend, you were allowing opponents to score 50% of the innings. Like every inning just felt like
they never had
a ragged arm dead dog fight where you were just fucking scratching and clawing for everything you could get.
Bullpen ran out of gas. I mean, look at Raiselman on the Monday. He goes out and has an 8-pitch 8th inning. He was fucking awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome.
But then you had to ask him to go back for the 9th, and he was missing spots and his velo dropped. Like, they asked that kid to give so many high-leverage innings this year. Just ran out of gas, man. Like, the bullpen accounted for 2/3 of the innings pitched this year.
Yeah.
It should be reversed.
Yeah.
But it just asked their bullpen to do too much, man. They ran out of gas.
And everybody ran out. I mean, Raiselman, Cooper, like everybody just didn't. So, but it's okay. Like Jay Johnson knows that better than anyone. The bats are going to be great again next year. I guess is simply put the big question, like how many arms can how many of this number 1 recruiting class Jay Johnson can get in town? And then I wonder
the number I was told was they want, if they can get 11 or 12 kids actually to show up, it would be an epic win.
The quote that Ben McDonald, well, I was going to say the quote that McDonald gave us a couple times now is a scout told him right now they're number 1 in the country. If 7 of the 14 showed up, he said they'd still be number 1 in the country.
Well, I think they have 22 in the class.
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying what Ben told us. So I actually don't.
I think it's
chill out.
No, so
that's a little too deep.
That's kind of the consensus, though. It's they.
So out of the 22, so you're saying so it's kind of like half either way. So you're saying like if you get half these kids to show up, you've won.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
And so is it? How interesting then that just today, the local Louisiana laws get passed allowing for collectives to work with schools. It would seem like the key to making it happen, especially in a sport like baseball where you don't have full scholarships and they're being offered money by the MLB, like this is your shot. If you're an LSU baseball fan and you have money or you want to be a big booster like this, who's going to be our John Ruiz out there for Miami just talking about signing players to $800,000 deals and like who wants to step up and fund this recruiting class in baseball?
LSU doesn't
they can launch you back to the
John
top.
Ruiz. John Ruiz is the booster from Miami. He's a billionaire booster. He basically owns a collection agency.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's greasy.
He's a loan shark.
it's greasy, but he's a billionaire.
He's a billionaire.
And he's already committed like $10 million of his personal money a year to football NIL alone. I think it's wild.
Ross Dellinger, who spoke with John Ruiz for his piece, said he's got 115 athletes and he's committed $7 million in NIL deals already.
And I think he's pledged to commit 10 a year.
Yeah, for Miami.
That's what it is.
It's something like that. Yeah. So look. The NIL, if you missed it today, it's Wednesday. If you're watching live, of course, but if you're listening or watching on demand.
It happened after our show, so we didn't get to talk about it.
The governor, so I did have Representative Stefanski on AFR today. He's one of the ones that authored the bill.
He also did the gambling, I think, back in the day, but continue. A real sports pro, Stefanski.
Today, the governor signed into law the modifications to Louisiana's NIL legislation, which essentially does three things. It allows for LSU to work with potential NIL partners, meaning prior, Brian Kelly, ready coach, couldn't tell a player, hey, go talk to this guy. Like, you can't broker the deal, but they could direct you. Like, in Louisiana, that was not allowed. It is now.
Funny, that seems like a semantic difference.
It is,
right.
but that's what Texas was allowing.
Now,
so players could go to Jimbo, and Jimbo could say, hey, call this guy.
Now, also, doesn't this allow for the creation of super PACs, of collectives?
Yes. Well, the booster verbiage is the second part of it, where prior boosters in Louisiana, if you were a booster, you were not allowed to do an NIL deal.
That's right. You technically were not.
So now the reality is enforcement was never going to happen. They weren't going to go arrest Gordon McKernan for doing an NIL deal with Keishon Butte. But now it is allowed, so collectives could happen, yes. And then the third part, and I didn't know this part of it, but it's interesting, there was a disclosure, a public record disclosure in the old law where if you did an NIL deal, it had to be disclosed for public record. So if Texas A&M wanted to go search Louisiana and LSU's NIL deals, it was public record. So they could say, look, this is what they're getting there.
And this is what,
we can
Texas
do better. Right.
and Alabama
so that's
all
now,
have that all private.
Yeah, that's all no longer public.
That's why
so
nobody can get the exact number that A&M has actually used to sign this class.
Right.
I do believe it's in the single-digit millions. I don't think it's a 30 million. Andy Staples done some pretty extensive reporting therein, but yeah. So basically, everybody in this Wild West, it's almost like a horse race. Everybody came out the gate at the same time. Some people were a little more aggressive than others in how they worded this stuff. Some remained a bit more old school. I'd say LSU's probably somewhere in the middle, and Texas was full fucking pedal to the floor. Let's fucking ride. And now LSU and other schools have had to kind of play catch up and adjust to their state laws in order to keep up with the proverbial Joneses. It's fascinating shit, dude. I mean, at every single
Bluegrass Trilogy is fun. This is why I love whiskey, by the way. This is our break-even barrel pick tonight, which is it's the 4-gate Bluegrass Trilogy. It's 3 bottles. They're all same juice, but they're all finished in different ways. And I love that their barrels are all, their staves are all done in-house there. A lot of other distillers, like, you'll buy barrels from wineries or whatever it may be. And the more these sit, the more they open up, the more complex and the more they change as well. Like I would have told you initially,
the number 2 was just really good to me.
So 2 on the first sip to me was totally bland. I got nothing on it. And like I'm about to do it again here.
I just thought 2 had some stuff going on. I felt like I got hit with a few flavors. I don't know what they are, but I felt like it changed.
It is the mildest. I would love to know the proof of all 3. Maybe we can get the bottles, but it's the mildest of the 3. But it does have like the most textured mouthfeel to it. Not very complex on the finish, but it's at least substantive, which I didn't get at all initially. So it's interesting, man. I would have initially gone like 1-3-2, but I think I'd still put 2.
Am I smelling something sweet in one?
I'm sure you are. That smells like honey. Number 3. Are you on?
No, I'm number 1. Yeah, number 1's got a little burn to it. I like that. I like that, man. All right. A couple questions that we can go ahead and knock out here that I think are relevant to the conversation.
Yeah, I go 1-3-2.
To go back to baseball, does Texas A&M season affect the way we should view Jay Johnson's first season? Obviously, given that this was a team with no expectation in Texas A&M, right? We all thought they sucked entering conference play. I think they were batting like 200 at the time. And now Schlossnagle has them in Omaha, right? And that was the goal. That's kind of the expectation.
Here's the reality. Schlossnagle's a good coach, number 1. But number 2, NIL, A&M is one of those teams. As much as we talk about NIL with football, nobody really talks about it with baseball. But it's like NIL, A&M did one of those things where they essentially had a pool of money that they were able to distribute evenly among their entire roster. So every Texas A&M baseball player got $13,000. So they were able to, Schlossnagle was able to go use the transfer portal and rebuild his roster, and he did so in a really sensible way.
That finally figured out the way around 11.8 scholarships.
11.7.
11.7.
But yes. Well, actually, the team that did that is Vanderbilt.
Yeah, with their academic fund.
Yeah.
Anchor down, baby.
I mean,
but whatever. Now everybody can do that.
If you have the money to do it, but not everybody has the money or the desire to do
it. So it feels like LSU basketball has quite a healthy booster base right now. I got to imagine that's how Matt McMahon has done a lot of the work that he's done. You know LSU football is going to have some covers to draw on. At a time, again, when the SEC has 4 teams, you could argue maybe 6 teams out of the 8 in Omaha, and that doesn't include Tennessee, Florida, Vanderbilt, LSU. How committed do you think the Tiger fan base is to pouring money into this thing?
It's the reason LSU's falling behind, bro. I mean, the way I'll say it and continue to say it is a year ago, let me rephrase, not a year ago. Really when Brian Kelly was hired and when NIL went live, right?
Yeah.
It's been a really expensive 18 months at LSU.
That is so fucking true, dude.
I mean, start with Kim Mulkey, right?
Yeah.
So you had to buy out Nikki Fargas.
Yeah.
And then you had to go, shake trees to get what's Kim make, 2.3, 2.7, something like that?
Something like that.
All right, for the women's basketball coach. Then Maneri obviously retires, but he's still under contract, so he's still getting paid. And then you have to hire Jay Johnson, right? So now you're paying your 2 baseball coaches effectively. Will Wade gets fired, obviously, you bring in Matt McMahon, and you had to make a gigantic commitment to Matt McMahon, right? What amounts to an 8-year deal.
Yep.
And you paid Ed Ogeron $17 million to leave.
And you're paying Kelly $10 million a year.
And you're paying Brian Kelly $100 million.
Yeah.
And then after all that, you're going to go to the boosters. And LSU, here's the thing, LSU's got boosters with money, for sure. But the roster isn't as long. And so you go to these same people and you're like, all right, now we need you to pay the players too. And what they got in return from a lot of those people is, fuck you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like LSU has been open for business. Like, remember when NIL launched, they went to New York City with Livy Dunn.
Yeah.
And there was all the NIL LSU. And basically what LSU do is they're like, hey, we're open for business. Come do deals. But what A&M was doing, what other schools were doing is they were mobilizing their boosters to broker deals.
Yeah.
That's the big difference. LSU said they're open for business, which they were, but they just
they thought the bear would come to the honey pot. You got to bring the honey to them.
So
you got to go get it.
My real question, and I think this is a very legitimate question, a legitimate concern, is does it get to a point where because it was so intense lately, it normalized and boosters are willing to spend, on NIL deals, or are you just redistributing the wealth? Are you taking money that would have gone to TAF for facilities now giving it to athletes? Are you taking money that would have gone to coaches and now giving it to this prospect? That's the big question for me, and I don't know the answer. I don't know the answer.
Yeah, it's tough to say, man. Already, it feels like it's happening faster than I thought. Remember when we were first going through the NIL, the very beginnings, and you're kind of getting an idea about how this thing could look, and we literally started to worry about the state economy versus some of these other state economies. And I know everybody keeps going back to this example, but look at Texas A&M right now. What people don't realize is, everybody's talking about what they paid for the class. Did you see what they raised to build new facilities?
Yeah.
$242 million. And if you hear them tell it, they say that's when the recruiting momentum really picked up, is when they pushed all these new buildings they were making, as well as obviously spending single-digit millions on that recruiting class. And so they have the economy. Like the question that you're answering, A&M has answered that emphatically, or the question you're asking. You're right.
A&M is disgustingly wealthy.
It's tough to see with LSU.
When they raised the $35 million or whatever it was for their new stadium, it was 5 phone calls. I mean, that's what they are. I mean, they're not only insanely wealthy, but they are so sick of losing, and they are committed to winning, and they feel like this is the way they can do it.
Unreal, dude.
It is unreal. It's crazy.
It's kind of a sobering thought, even as we drink all this whiskey.
But here I will tell you, and again, if you listen to my shows or whatever, you've heard me say this. So for some it might be repetitive, but I feel I feel like I'm going to say this a ton, not only now but for years to come. The thing, singular, that gives LSU a chance to maintain its spot amid the elite in college football or college baseball or whatever, even if they're not spending an NIL, is Louisiana and LSU has an advantage that I think only exists in 3 places, where you are the only Power 5 school in a talent-rich state.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not talking about like
Wyoming or something.
Well, Wyoming's not a Power 5.
But whatever. You're not talking about some shitty shitty state that maybe has only one Power 5 school. Rutgers?
Or even if you were
Rutgers?
like New Jersey, sure, fine. LSU is in a talent-rich state and is the only Power 5. With apologies to Georgia Tech, I'm going to say Georgia, because Georgia and Georgia Tech aren't actually the same.
I agree, dude. I hate when people bring up the Georgia Tech thing, like Georgia Tech is taking anybody from Georgia. They're really not. I grew up there.
Georgia Tech is Tulane.
Nobody gives a yes, exactly. Nobody gives a fuck about Georgia Tech.
More people in Atlanta love Georgia than Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
Yes, they exist there. Yes, they're in the ACC.
And if they're doing
not
good,
the same.
sure, the
yes,
city would be
do.
like, oh, fuck yeah, Georgia Tech, Ramblin'
sure.
Wreck. You know,
but they're not the same. And Ohio State is the third. The only Power 5 in a talent-rich state. And the reason that matters is because even in a year where NIL is going bonkers, you have a 5-star quarterback in Walker Howard whose dad played at LSU. He's a legacy. He didn't think about going anywhere else. I know he took visits and shit, but he was always going to LSU, right? 5-star offensive lineman Will Campbell from Neville just wanted to go to LSU. It didn't matter what anyone threw at him, right?
Yeah.
There is always going to be, in this state, Walker Howard and Will Campbell or fill-in-the-blank prospect that will allow you to fill a class of super fucking elite talented guys that you'll supplement with dudes from other states and NIL or whatever you need to where it's going to work. Like, LSU is always going to be able to maintain its roster.
Yeah, I feel like football, too, you may not have all the resources, but yes, combined with that inherent advantage, you will generally have enough money in football to do what needs to be done. Unless we get into, like, you know, let's say 15, 20 years down the road and we're getting into a real sub-NFL and but, I mean, at that point, I think you probably get into salary caps even and things like that to maybe democratize it a bit more. But, yeah, I mean, there's a world where the spending could get too out of control for you, but that would be a long way off, I think, in football. But, no, I mean, David Kennedy says it, dude, right here. He says, if baseball wants to stay relevant, we got to update the stadium facilities and dump NIL money in. We can't live on our history anymore. I just don't know if there's enough to go around. Like Matt said, are you taking from the same pie? Or has it just been so extreme lately that there's more to give? You just need it to free up a little bit.
All right, LSU just signed literally the high – LSU just did in baseball what A&M did in football. Literally the highest rated class ever. With the stadium he's talking about, with the resting on the Lord, with no NIL money, like all that shit. Like, you've got to understand baseball is a different animal.
Jay Johnson's a hell of a recruiter.
Jay Johnson's a great recruiter, but there's also just different dynamics in baseball because you've got to factor in the draft and who you can realistically get to campus. There's a lot of different factors that weigh in with that. So it's not exactly the same comparing baseball to football.
Well, no, because we don't know how many of those kids are going to show up either. But
that's the point.
Okay, so how do you feel then about Jay Johnson year number 1? You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay, I think he did a fantastic job. I think he managed the hell out of this team. I think there's two very base things I look for. Did you elevate the perceived talent or did you drag it down? I think he got the most out of this team, okay? And so I'm going to say he elevated it. So then the second question to be a good coach is, well, can you recruit then? Can you bring in better talent and elevate that even further? And obviously, I think he's answered the recruiting question pretty emphatically. So, yeah, man, well, sure, going to a Super would have certainly been nicer, and you would have been hosting, which would have been great, right? No, I think that it's a success, or regardless of what this season is to you, I believe in Jay Johnson as the future of LSU baseball. I do feel confident saying that.
Number 3 smells like maple syrup.
Ooh, okay.
Smell it. It's maple syrup.
Holy shit, dude.
Do you get a lot of maple syrup?
That is, yeah.
Maple syrup.
Yeah. You ain't lying, dude. Ooh, Sue.
Yeah. One has more.
Pour that on my pancakes.
Pepper, more rye, probably more rye in the mash bill, or at least more of those characteristics with the peppery notes. 3 is really pleasant because it's sweet like syrup. So it's just really a preference here. They both outpace 2 by a long, long way.
Okay.
All right, Jay Johnson, year 1. I get it. At LSU, coaches will always be judged by what you do in the postseason. And this team went on the road in a regional and lost. So no one is going to do backflips over the season, nor should you. I get it. That's not the expectation at LSU. But he had to manage the fuck out of this team. Like, do you realize that if you watch when LSU's batting, he's standing on the top step with a clipboard and a pen, literally looking at every pitch. And you'd have hitters damn near after every pitch stepping out of the box looking at him, basically because and I don't know this, but I'm certain this is what it was.
He's telling him what he thinks is coming?
He had everything charted to know every pitcher's tendency because he had to manage like that on this team. And a big part of that was injuries. Look, if Jacob Berry didn't get hurt, what would have happened? If Gavin Dugas didn't get hurt in the middle of the season, how does it happen? Javen Coleman was the least talked about, most influential loss of the season. He's your best left-handed arm that would have been in your rotation, a team that had really one lefty that you counted on until Jacob Hasty emerged late, and he fizzled at the end. And you had no rotation, he would have been in it. Like, then Jacob Berry gets hurt just as you're playing your goddamn best baseball.
Yeah.
I mean, it was Cade Beloso the first fucking game of the season. Before the first game, like in the hype huddle, tears his ACL. Everybody deals with injuries.
I love me some Hot Rod.
But on a team, yeah, man. Hot Rod Beloso, shout out. But on a team
shout
where
out Hot Rod's Jambalaya, or what is it, Hot Rod's Catering?
Also,
it's fucking good.
Also, Associate Rodco Roofing.
I know. We can't all be perfect,
On a team where you didn't have as much margin for error, and then you had all the injuries, he maximized it. The fact that they won 17 games is fucking incredible.
Yeah.
17
in
SEC
the
games.
It's
On a year,
fucking
incredible.
When's the last time LSU went over 500 in the SEC? I mean, we're talking a little bit of a minute now, right? Over 500. Hasn't it been 3 or 4 years?
Well, no, 2019, 2020, they didn't have a conference schedule. Then last year,
let me check.
Were they 15 and 15 last year?
Let me check.
Muse. What was LSU's SEC record in 21?
Matt is asking the walking.
So they were 13. They were 13 and 17
last year, right?
Last year.
Yeah. Hold on. I think I can find it. Ah, shit. These are overall records.
It don't matter. It doesn't matter. But point being, to win 17 conference games is a great accomplishment. And honestly,
okay. Sorry. 2019 they were 17 and 13.
They were 17 and 13. They hosted a regional and a super regional because Florida State upset Georgia. So, but anyway, to that point, I think it's an awful precedent that LSU had 17 wins and Arkansas at 18 wins were not regional hosts, and Florida at 15 and 15 and Auburn at 16 and 14. No, they played one less game. They were
16 and 13?
Yes. And had a series loss to – no, LSU had the series win, obviously, at Florida. And LSU had one more win than Auburn at the SEC overall.
Yeah, Auburn finished
and then Auburn
16
lost,
13.
And then Auburn lost its opener in the SEC tournament to Kentucky.
Oh, fuck that up.
Anyway,
well, I guess they're in the College World Series.
My point is, it's a bad precedent to set whenever you have an 18-win SEC team not be a regional host. It's fucking you're marrying yourself to the numbers. Long way around of saying, yes, I think Jay Johnson had a fucking awesome year. No one will remember it though because just like no one remembers.
But again, I'm focused on the future. How do you feel about the future? That's what I mainly mean with this question, right?
He maximized this team,
but at a time when the future,
let him get his roster. Yeah.
Okay, good. That's what I'm saying, because the future could be intimidating looking. I mean, there's so many fucking good teams. Texas and Oklahoma are about to join this party.
It's the SEC. There's always good teams.
I know, but it doesn't feel like it's getting even better as college baseball explodes. We're the only, and you got to think about NIL. I think of NIL as always having a power concentrating effect, right? Like the rich getting richer mainly. And we are the only part of the country that truly gives a fuck like this about college baseball. And so I think over time you're going to see that money start to separate that gap even further.
LSU's got the right guy.
Pay that man, boosters. We need to give Jay Johnson some fucking money, man.
They're unquestionably committed to winning in baseball.
You got to do it. You can pay.
And
I've seen your backyard. Why don't you pay?
You have not seen my backyard.
Yeah, I've heard about it.
You've been invited.
Oh, my God. You invited me last minute one time. And
did I really?
Come.
I don't remember inviting you. When did I invite you?
I don't remember, but it was last minute, and I couldn't come. And now you're feeling very hurt about it. We will drink beers in your backyard one day.
No, you're not invited.
The only thing I asked was for your backyard not to fuck my wife. I would like it if your backyard would raise some NIL money for Jay Johnson. Okay. Okay. You're going to talk about HUDCO all the time. How about we get some HUDCO-sponsored athletes? You know what I'm saying here?
We've done that.
We'll do fucking more, okay?
We're like half the baseball team were HUDCO athletes.
Okay, well, what's half? That means there's half left to be HUDCO athletes.
Fuck. They were all
Make it happen, bitch.
Bro, the two things that I'm primarily involved with, HUDCO and GameCoin, have done more fucking NIL deals with LSU athletes than anybody else.
Yeah, but
GameCoin did NIL deals with 60 fucking LSU athletes.
But could you do more? Okay,
Jesus
exactly.
Christ.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Think about these things next time. Oh, shout out Jordan Haddad. He's watching from Israel.
Hey.
Greetings, Jordan L'chaim. What's going on, man?
Is that the only word you know in Hebrew?
Is
that why you keep saying that?
No, shalom.
Shalom, okay.
L'chaim?
Hava Havila?
I don't know that.
That's the song. Hava Havila.
Oh, I don't.
Yeah.
I never knew that. I always did the have a tequila, very offensive.
No, that's not it at all. That's not at all.
No. I think I maxed out my Hebrew.
What else do you have before we get to questions?
Torah.
The Torah, yes. The Pentateuch.
Okay.
That's what happens when you go to Catholic
did you know
school.
Bill Belichick makes over $20 million a year? Did you ever realize this? Do you know that we don't know Bill Belichick's salary?
NFL head coaching salaries are not public. I didn't know he made 20. I thought he was in the.
So the only reason I say this is because you saw the Sean Payton story, right?
Yeah.
Miami was ready to pay him 5 years, maybe 4 years, $100 million, $20 million a year.
$20 million a year.
In the reporting of that story, it was reported that it would make him the second highest paid coach in the NFL to Bill Belichick.
Wow.
Belichick may be clearing $20+ million, y'all. Maybe
Good for
not.
him.
Maybe not.
Good for him.
But maybe so. Crazy shit.
He's worthy.
Tennessee blows it. I had that on the list. I like trash talkers, dude. I like bad boys, but hey, man, everybody loves the comeuppance.
So I think the biggest argument that I've gotten into with people on this, and I've posted some TikToks and shit, and I went off on it on AFR, and I tweeted after they lost. So
you've been throwing out some fucking Tennessee. Some broadside.
Did you see so you see the
so
tweet?
A lot of steroid insinuations, basically. A lot of how's this guy go from this to this, and this goes from this to this, and this goes from this to this.
Well, I think Tony. All right, so I will be very irresponsible. I think Tony Vitello is a cheat. I think.
Oh shit, that's the Greece flag. It's not Israel. Kalispera. Excuse me. Kalimera. No, Kalispera.
You fucking moron.
Kalimera's good morning in Greek. Kalispera's
Doesn't matter.
good evening.
You thought you were talking to an Israeli.
Efaristo is thank you.
You thought you were looking at the Star of David? You fucking
Efaristo is
idiot.
thank you. And
how stupid are you?
It's blue and white. Dude, my eyes are going bad. What do you want from me?
So is the American flag, Dick. What's your point?
Yeah, sometimes I see the French flag. I'm like, hey, hello, happy America.
It's so stupid.
Well, dude, I fucking love Greece. So, yeah, hell yeah, dude. Yassas, that means hello.
Okay, so yes, I think it is super curious. We see guys take quantum leaps at times in all sports. So look at Tari Eason. Tari Eason went from role player at Cincinnati, right system at LSU. They used him the right way. Possible lottery pick. Block first rounder, possible lottery pick. We see that. You don't see Ben Joyce going from Western Czech whatever community college to throwing 105 miles an hour. I'm not talking about 99 dot. I'm talking about 105.
Mechanics.
On the same team where a guy goes from being a meh guy at Georgia Southern to being the SEC pitcher of the year in one season. When you're talking about dudes that
good coaching.
A guy that was in nobody's top 200 prospects coming out of high school, we're not talking about Landon Marceau, Jaden Hill showing up on, fucking Dylan Cruz showing up on campus. We're talking about a dude that was number 258 on Baseball America's prospect list, shows up at Tennessee and is the fucking SEC freshman of the year. I mean, and a team that out of nowhere all of a sudden hits 150 bombs in the dead bat era. A dude last year that hit 2 homers, hit 22 this year. He didn't go from 12 to 22. He went from 2 to 22.
Hey, shortened up that swing.
All on the same fucking team.
Wow.
There's too much chatter
Tony
around.
Vitello's a beast.
There's too much chatter when you actually put ear to ground in baseball circles with people who tell too many stories about this team. I am giving you an opinion, an irresponsible one. I think Tony Vitello makes available disingenuous methods to his players. I'm not saying all of them use them. I'm telling you that I believe I believe that. They got caught with a juiced bat. They fucking got busted using a juiced bat this year.
Okay.
And they're like, oh, if we're a juiced bat, we'll go play with wood bats. They go play with wood bats, and they fucking lose to Tennessee Tech. Like, I mean, I get it. It's circumstantial, and I can't prove it. I get it. But they're a giant group of assholes. They're not good for baseball. And by the way, this is the point that people push back. Like, oh, well, they're good for the game. Being an asshole doesn't make you good for the game. And I'm not saying you have to be, like, jolly and merry because kids are there and all that shit. But, like, rounding the bases and flipping off the umpire and the center fielder motherfucking the umpire in a super regional game getting run. Tony Vitello got suspended 4 games this year for chest bumping an umpire. Like, I'm okay with fire and edge and shit, but there's a difference between playing with fire and tenacity and just being an asshole. They were assholes. That's number one.
Yeah.
Number two,
I kind of like assholes, to be clear, but even I like when assholes
Tennessee didn't bring new people to college baseball, okay? We've seen good and dominant teams. Arkansas didn't lose a weekend last year. They did not lose a fucking weekend series last year. They were awesome. They lost. All Tennessee did was make people hate them. People who already love college baseball. The thing that will grow the sport, right? The thing that will grow college baseball is setting the hook in new baseball markets. Did more Tennessee fans watch this team? Absolutely. The same way that when LSU women's basketball is good, we watch.
Yeah.
And when Nikki Fargas is winning 3 SEC games,
you don't think that's setting the hook in a relatively new market, though?
At Tennessee, no, because Tennessee's had good players over the year. They've been to Omaha. They've had guys like Todd Helton there and Chris Burke. I mean, they've had some success. It's been sparing, and it's been over many decades. But
last year they did feel like a fan base that was new to the whole thing.
Well, they are, because you got a whole new fan base, like new young people in that fan base who are experiencing their success for the first time. My point is, Georgia Southern hosting, Virginia Tech hosting a super regional, UConn winning a regional and traveling across country, like Maryland hosting a regional for the first time. Those fan bases in places that are not traditional college baseball markets, those fan bases tasting postseason baseball for the first time, and that emotion, the exultation of winning, the devastation of losing the way East Carolina did or the way Virginia Tech did to Oklahoma, like, that's how you set an emotional hook and you grow the game and get new fans in new places. Like, I said this on AFR, like, Dylan in Oregon didn't decide he wasn't going hiking to watch fucking Tennessee on Sunday. I mean, we'll look up ratings when they come out. There's going to be no evidence to suggest that you had this massive parabolic spike in people that watch this college baseball postseason.
Well, not parabolic,
because of Tennessee.
But you think they're not even a little bit of spike?
No. College baseball.
They did make themselves a villain. A lot of people wanted to tune in to watch them lose.
College baseball fans did. People that already loved the game and watched the game. They were polarizing among college baseball, but they didn't bring new people. The example I gave is like when Brock Lesnar came to the UFC, he brought new people to MMA. People who had never fucking watched MMA wanted to see Brock Lesnar. When Danica Patrick joined NASCAR, it was like, oh, fuck, a chick racing NASCAR? I'm going to watch that shit. Tiger Woods brought new people to golf. That's my point. Like, Tennessee didn't bring people to college baseball.
No, if anything, college baseball is just growing in general.
They were just assholes that everybody fucking hated and were happy to see them lose.
Well,
that's it.
Look, it's like what Team America says, right?
Fuck yeah.
The world is comprised, I think, of its dicks, assholes, and pussies. And dicks like to, fuck pussies, and assholes like to shit on everything. But sometimes you need a dick to fuck an asshole. So I guess in this scenario, who's the dick? Who fucked Tennessee? Who's the dick here?
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame! Wow. Yeah, I've always thought Notre Dame were dicks, so it works out perfectly.
America. Fuck yeah.
Look, the point is, they were assholes and they got fucked.
Yeah. All right, ask your questions, by the way.
All right, here we go.
We'll get the questions in 5 minutes. What else do you have?
Okay. Else on the rundown? Okay, we've heard that. We don't need to get into this. We could save this evergreen for summer. Where does LSU rank in the West in football?
Yeah, I don't care.
How do you feel about the launch of LSU Gold?
How do you feel about the launch of LSU Gold?
I don't want to talk too much shit because, if they want to do some stuff, I'm not opposed to it. Whatever, it's more options. I think $9 is a bit of an ask, but I don't know, how many people are they really looking to buy in? I don't think they need too many.
Disney Plus, ESPN Plus.
No, I know.
Peacock.
But
all cheaper than LSU Gold.
No, I know. So, but the thing is, though, I think they're aiming for a more niche thing where, the diehards are going to pay for it. I'll be interested to see.
Will you spend the $9
for my job? But that's why.
I ain't spending that shit.
Well, what the fuck? How are we gonna get NIL money in baseball if you won't even pay for that?
What the fuck are they gonna? Am I gonna learn?
Oh, I want to see the Brian Kelly thing. I want to see. Do you have the killer show? Right. That's the content game. And is this Brian Kelly documentary going to be interesting?
The only thing behind a paywall for which I will spend is the live sports content I want to watch. Like, I subscribe to ESPN Plus when UFC did their deal, and you had to have ESPN Plus to watch UFC. Like, that's why I did it. Like, when LSU was before the SEC network, LSU would stream its baseball games on LSUsports.net.
Yeah.
From the closed circuit feed. So, like, the feed that you get in the suites and all the shit. They would stream that on the website, and you could pay $3 or whatever it was a month and get that. But I would do it because I could watch every LSU baseball game. I'd have to go. I could watch a Tuesday night game against Southeastern and watch it. Like, I'll pay for that. Pay for fucking LSU Gold. I mean, God bless them. I hope it works. I hope they make a killing.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. It's going to be on them to make content that enough people want to buy. I mean, the key things that I was looking for is, are you going to put stuff that is out already now behind it? And they have said no there. Now, I get the idea that future stuff will be behind it, and that kind of is what it is. But we'll see, man, if they can make it worth it or not. I don't know.
Oh,
I mean,
please,
more options
let me see the generic interview where no tough questions are asked and nothing is said. I can't wait to pay bucks for that.
So that's what I'm really judging this Brian Kelly documentary on, right? Will there be any level of spice to it? And I don't think that there will. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch it because I am intrigued. I don't mind paywalls. I like supporting people for their work if I'm somewhat interested in their work. Like, I pay for The Athletic and New Orleans on Football and other sites. I pay for The Advocate. So I'll pay for this as well.
There are two ways, obviously. There are two revenue models with web-based businesses, right, or web-based content providers. You either set up a paywall and leverage your audience, or you do a fucking amazing job, give your content away for free, and because you have such a
sell ads,
you have such a gigantic following, exactly, you're attractive to advertisers, and then your community in turn supports your advertisers because they're supporting you.
Yeah,
I will always choose B over A. Like, you have no idea, even a guarantee, the amount of like down, drag out fights I had even before you worked here when we talked about putting some of our content behind paywalls, and I was like, fuck no. Like, I will not do that. I'll never put my shit behind a paywall.
No, I think
do a great job, and then go get fucking advertisers.
I don't think there's any one way to success. I do feel like, though, the paywall works more on a micro independent scale. Like, even The Athletic, for all the great work that they do, they are still struggling financially.
Because people don't want to pay for shit they can get for free somewhere else.
Well, I mean, but I would argue that the quality of the work in The Athletic is consistently higher. But I feel you.
And the overwhelming consensus, as you just illustrated, is the consumer doesn't fucking care.
No, but on the micro, like Patreon, things like that, like definitely paywalls and crowdfunding can work in that regard. I think on the macro, generally advertising is a better play. But we'll see, man. I mean, how many subscribers do you think they need to make it successful?
I don't know.
I mean, if you have 5,000, which maybe that's high, but if you have 5,000, that's $45K a month you're billing. And I know they hired a lot to try to make this happen, but, I feel like if I'm LSU, I would probably think that's doable.
If you're making $50,000 a month, you're talking about $600,000 a year
for
an athletic administration, for an athletic department that does about $150 million in revenue a year.
No, I mean their numbers are probably
is dog shit.
Yeah, so their numbers are definitely going to be higher than that. But I mean they definitely math this all. Like there's some analytics or system out there that is telling them that they can get X number of subscribers to do this. We'll see, or maybe not. Maybe they're just kind of going for it. More options are not bad. Don't pay for it if you don't want to pay for it, right? That's how I feel.
You want to get
some questions?
Yeah. All right, fire away with your questions.
Jordan Haddad live from Israel, next door to Greece, actually. Similar flags, that's why. Scone T is the overall temperature in Baton Rouge. Let's ride with Nussmeier. I don't think so.
I think you have way more pro-Brennan people than anything else.
Yeah,
Do
I
you
think
agree?
so too. Yeah, I feel like that's the most, anecdotally, that's the one that I've seen the most.
I'm probably in the minority in that I've said pretty definitively I think Jaden Daniels ends up as the starting quarterback. Just because I think circumstantially you don't bring Jaden Daniels in if you were happy with the room you had. So
Well, I don't think you do, but that doesn't mean that Jaden Daniels is always going to live up to expectations either. I mean, the Mississippi State example, or Michigan State, is still the one I keep going back to.
He's also a guy that started 30 games.
Yeah, but outside of that freshman year, the 30 games will left a lot to be desired. Like, he looked more in that spring game, which is an awful way to judge
He had been here for 2 weeks.
Especially combined with that. Yeah, but, bro, I'm talking about, but spring game is not hard mentally. It is basic shit, and I'm talking about standing in the pocket and delivering a hook. Just delivering a simple pass. He was good on the run. He struggled being accurate from the pocket on very simple
We'll
things.
see.
Kobe, hashtag Ask Scone T, more likely to win a championship next, the Saints or the Pelicans? Oh. This is mighty interesting right here. We kind of touched on this a little bit today because the Pelicans may actually be in a better spot than the Saints are right now. I mean, if you look at what they did post All-Star break, post McCollum, post that awful beginning, they're a 5th seed. The Saints feel like more of a 7 right now in the NFL.
1 point.
I think it's easier to win a championship in the NFL because you get hot in the playoffs. That's probably why it's Saints.
That's the point.
But in terms of hierarchy of the league, you could argue that the Pelicans rank higher in the league hierarchy.
It's Saints because the 9-7 Giants
get hot.
beat the 18-0 Patriots.
Yeah.
Get in the fucking tournament, get hot, win 3 weeks, and you're a champion.
That's true.
I know it's true. So I fucking said it.
Well, I actually said it before you said it, so, check the tape.
You knew that I was saying it.
No. I said it before you said it. Alex.
You knew I was going to say it.
Hashtag Ask T-Bob and Scone. Will Mike Brown spend more money or less money on this year's Bengals team?
This year,
So basketball coach?
The owner of the Bengals.
No. Mike Brown's a good coach.
Who's an assistant with the Warriors. Which is so weird.
Like Mike Brown to get another ring, baby.
It's so weird to see him coming on. Yeah, he is, bro. But Burrow was asked today about his future contract. If he's he's like, I'm not really thinking about it at all. But he's eligible after this season for a new deal.
Oh wow.
And with the way that the market has reset, obviously you saw Deshaun get $46 million a year, topping Mahomes' $45, and then remember the Packers came in and gave Rodgers $50.
Yeah.
It wasn't even just like a nose above. It was like
nice round number.
Burrow and Justin Herbert gonna get broke off next year.
Yeah.
Like that's gonna. But the real question is, what he just said. Are the Bengals actually gonna do that? Like, are the Bengals actually gonna pay a quarterback $55 million a year?
You know why they will? Because the Broncos just sold for $4.5 billion.
I understand that.
Like, it's good business, I feel like, to reinvest in the business that is printing you.
Right.
I know it's not like cash flow, but you can get somebody to approve the loans if you're that desperate.
But do you understand, like, the Panthers have sold, like you've seen NFL franchises sell. The Jaguars have sold. Like, it's not new that franchises are appreciating in value, but this is a franchise that is
Panthers sold
notoriously
because of
cheap.
scandal, though.
But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The point is just that you're seeing what the sale values are. When Shad Khan bought the Jaguars, like, you're seeing what the appreciating value is of these franchises is the only point. So, not why you sell. But my point is, you have a franchise that is notoriously cheap. And now they're going to be faced with the decision of making a quarterback literally the highest paid player in the game.
Well, and we're going to see, though, are you cheap because you didn't feel hope, or are you just cheap? Because now you have hope, you have a franchise quarterback, you made a Super Bowl.
Bro, they were in the playoffs for a decade.
If you're not going to spin now, yeah,
with
but
Andy
you never,
Dalton
but you never really
But they
believed.
never went for it.
You never really believed.
But see, they never
Yeah, but
went
Burrow's
for
giving
it.
you no excuse. If you don't pay now, then you're just cheap. I think they're going to pay.
They got to pay, right?
I mean, if you fucking have to pay, what are we talking about, dude? What the fuck are we talking about? Like, they're going to pay Joe Burrow everything he is worth.
It's only because it's the Bengals. It's the only reason we're having the conversation is because it's the Bengals.
Ask Scone T, does text that way? You already asked that one. Is LSU, Bilbo Baggins asked, is LSU Florida the biggest rivalry game we have based on the last 30 years? Which I want to say the Winsipedia is just about even. Or I should say series history. I say Winsipedia. LSU is now down just one win.
Check Auburn.
Over Florida.
But that's all time.
That's all time.
But if you're just talking the last 30 years, so go to 90.
Let me see if I don't know how to lower this. I don't know how to get just
because
a
LSU
section.
and Auburn for a decade literally flip-flopped home. Like, neither team could win at the other's place.
Yeah.
It was crazy. So I think that's probably the one that I would say, LSU and Auburn. Because Florida –
LSU's up 7 wins all time in that one.
But look, just if you're looking at last – because the point is Florida, all during Spurrier, just skull fucked LSU.
What the fuck, dude? Auburn's won 2 years in a row. What the fuck are we doing, dude?
You all right?
No, from 92 on, LSU-Auburn looks damn even.
It's got to be Auburn. That's my favorite series. Because as a kid, those were the most fun games, the most competitive games, all the name games, Earthquake, Bring Back the Magic, the interception game.
Okay, so since 92, I have Auburn winning 14 of the –
Of the 30?
29.
So LSU's 15 and 14.
Yeah.
So it's Auburn.
That's just winning the last 2. How the fuck did they win the last 2, dude?
Well, we watched it last year. Bo Nix was a fucking
4th and 2.
Fucking goddamn magician. I know.
Dustin Blanchard, which members of the baseball recruiting class make it to campus? Any chance any of the top 5 guys come? I don't know names, y'all. Sorry.
Say again?
Which members of the baseball recruiting class make it to campus? Any chance of any of the top 5 guys coming? I mean, you're used to 5 guys coming, so you might be able to answer this.
The hamburger joint?
Yeah, it's great. Of Shaq.
Gavin Guidry. I actually did.
Love that name.
Gatorade Player of the Year from Barb. Two-way guy. Pitcher, middle infielder, can also hit. He's probably going to get his number, so he'll probably sign. But you got a 50-50 shot. Last week on Tuesday on AFR, if you're interested, if you're not, it's really okay. But if you're interested, go back to AFR from last Tuesday. It was like the 4:30 segment. I kind of talked to as many people as I know that are scouts. Scouts basically manage drafts for teams. I don't know if you know this, but like the area scouts are the ones that basically make the picks and determine who gets the money. And I went player for player in the class, like everyone, to say, all right, who's got no shot of showing up, who's absolutely coming, who's like 50-50.
Yeah.
Right? And it was, if you're interested, go look it up. I don't remember it all off the top of my head.
How many do you okay.
I think there were eight locks that are coming.
Okay.
Maybe 6 that were like, no way. A handful that were 50-50 sort of thing.
Drive for 5.
Go check it out.
Alex Goday. How bad will SEC fans be when SEC football players who get paid more than they do underperform?
Who gives a shit?
This is something that I have also thought about a lot, is because I've always kind of treated kids with college gloves, but I got to be honest, I'm human, right? And anytime somebody starts making more money than you, the bottom line is, I don't care what the context is, you kind of don't feel as bad for them.
It's true.
And so, if these cats are out there out-earning us, we're going to be a little more critical, I just think, naturally as human beings. I think that's just kind of the way of the road. But then again, the trade-off is I'm fine. Like, if I was playing, you already got a lot of shit anyway. I'd much rather be paid to get more shit than not be paid to get shit. Ask us, Grant Rabley wants to know, who is wide receiver number 2? Cole Taylor.
I think this is either Jure Jenkins or Jack Besh. I think Jenkins, back for a senior year, has the monster year, or Besh takes that step from year 1 to year 2.
Thomas Hilton, anybody else breaking in?
I just think if you're – all that is possible, but I think there's only one ball and how many targets go around. Who's more likely to get open, get the target? So I would look at guys at different positions. That's why I would look at someone like – obviously, Butte is going to be on the outside. He's going to be your big playmaker, of course. Who is more who's different? Jure Jenkins can be a game breaker, and Jack Besh can be your intermediate guy, right? I mean,
Jack Besh is going to be your possession.
He could be your Marcus Colston.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Besh was number 2 in receptions, but somebody else had more yards than him.
Yeah, with less receptions, you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll see, man. I actually don't have a great answer. Like, you could be any of those guys. But that's kind of the strength of the LSU wide receiver room. They got a lot of options.
It's crazy, too, man. It's crazy how good they are there.
I know. Daniel Basham asked Scone T, favorite snowball flavor? Tiger's blood.
Cherry.
Really? Straight cherry?
Cherry.
Oh, wow. Hashtag ask Scone T, why did Dwight McLaughlin leave? Wasn't he going to start this year? I think all your friends leave, your coaches leave. It's his full reset. Maybe he was just like, I want to reset too, dude. It had to be such a toxic 2 years at LSU, dude.
It's the thing people don't understand, man. Like, it's the same with Max Johnson. People are like, why would Max Johnson leave? Like,
yeah, and apparently, according to Bill Lucci, Haynes King's the leader in the clubhouse right now.
That's fine. I really don't care. I mean, I don't care if Max Johnson ever plays again. But the point is, think about what Max Johnson went through, right?
Yeah, I know.
You show up at LSU, and the first thing that you're exposed to is the fucking team walking out on its coach and doing a BLM march, right?
Yeah.
Then you have all the COVID shit. Everything's shut down. Are you going to play? You're going to not. You have this fucking season that's a total goddamn disaster. Then you go into the next year. You're halfway through the season. The coach gets fired halfway through the year. You're on your second OC in as many years. And how frustrated was Max Johnson all year? Dude, you and I, how many times did we on postgame or while we're sitting at Don Juan talk about Max Johnson looking at the sideline like, give me a fucking play?
I know. It was,
you know what I mean?
It was slapdick central.
Dude, it was terrible. Like, and so then his dad went to Florida State, where Jimbo was and won a national championship, knows them well, has a history of developing quarterbacks. Like, it's a reset. I get it. Like, I get it. You said, well, he was going to start here. Who the fuck cares? His experience here was terrible. I get it.
Yeah,
I get it
too.
I get it.
I get it, too. I still
you know
talk
what?
shit about him, but I get it.
You're still going to be fine. Brennan's a 6-year guy.
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels has started a bunch. People are super high on Nuss. I think Walker Howard's going to be a stud in time. Like, you're fine.
Yeah, dude,
it's just,
I cannot
you're
wait.
going to lose guys. You're going to lose guys in this current culture. You just got to replace them in the portal, and LSU's done that.
Our guy Eric Hart has hashtag Ask
He's
Scone
here.
T.
Hey, sitting right there.
What are your thoughts on LSU football recruiting being slower than we are used to this summer? Recruits feeling out how Kelly's going to coach in these games.
You answer that. You fucking went through a recruiting process. I didn't.
Well, I mean, I don't know if my opinion honestly means anything anymore. Like, the landscape is so infinitely different than what I experienced that I can't pretend to know. Like,
and you were always LSU, right?
Yes, yeah. But it's like a Marion Miller, right? Like, of course he's going to fucking decommit. He committed when Coach O was the head coach of LSU, and NIL wasn't even a thing.
Yeah.
Like, you were talking about a fundamentally different fabric of football. So maybe I'm being overly optimistic here. I do think Kelly's new to this. I do think some winning is probably going to be required to prove yourselves to some of the top guys. But I'm not going to be shocked at all if you see high school players slow playing it more and more because they're leveraging two teams against one another trying to get better deals.
Can I also say, like, if I'm just going to give you a practical answer to that question about why recruiting is slowing, remember the recruiting rules changed this year where the hard cap of 25 is gone now.
Yeah.
So what that means is, like, coaches could only sign 25. Now the hard cap's gone. You can sign as many as you want, but you just can't go over 85 on your total. So you don't really know how many spots you're going to have, who's staying, who's going, transfer. Like, you know what I mean? It's a little bit different. So I can understand maybe being
the schools could be slow playing a bit as well, you're saying.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, some coach, remember a couple years ago, do you remember this, where, like, in June, Tennessee had like 22 commitments? It was a couple of years ago. And they were like they were the number one class in the country because they had like 22 fucking guys committed. Well, like, some coaches just take a different tact. Some, like, want to get commits in the boat early. Some want to wait. And we're learning Brian Kelly. The way that he managed the portal this year to redo this roster after he got hired gave me a lot of confidence to say, I trust that guy. He's got a plan. He'll figure it out.
Yeah, I think I think Brian Kelly's won everywhere he's gone. You know how I feel about it. I think he's incredibly sharp. So, yeah, I mean, ultimately that is what I think. in this. And also, I trust Brian Poling a lot. We talked to him this morning, and he too gives off an air, and he should because he's a recruiting coordinator and special teams coordinator. But he gives off an air of a very competent person who is very confident in his ability to scout and build football rosters. I mean, I think that's kind of it. Somebody's asked me what I think will be a bigger show: Rings of Power, the Game of Thrones prequel. I think Rings of Power.
What the fuck is that?
Rings of Power is a new Lord
care.
of the Rings prequel that they're making from the second age. You know, traditionally a time in which Tolkien hasn't filled in a lot of the details. Well, I'm a bit worried. That's
I don't care. This is Scone and T.
It's
We're at Oliver Twist. Great spot here.
Look, I love
Perkins.
the Silmarillion. There's a lot of interesting
We're
stuff.
right in front of Solu.
But then in the second
behind
age,
Solu.
we only really have
Right off of
snatches. But then
Perkins.
again, we do have like a split of
Best
Numenor
whiskey
and
selection
kind of the remake
in
of the
all
world
of
in a lot
Baton
ways.
Rouge.
So it's
Come
like
hang
a
out
lot of
here.
interesting things
Also
to tell
great
there, but
food. You're stepping
the
on the
further
sponsor.
you get away from actual
You're stepping on the
Tolkien,
sponsor.
well, then you don't quite know where you're going to
Yeah,
get into.
you're
So I
stepping
get
on
a
the
little
sponsor.
worried. What are we talking about?
Yeah. Oliver Twist. You were stepping on the sponsor.
Oh, I love Oliver Twist.
Yeah.
We're here right now.
How incredibly unprofessional of you.
And I'm drinking their
but not in any way
delicious
surprising.
Inclusivo tequila.
All right, y'all. Thanks for watching or listening to Scone and T. Again, if you're on YouTube, smash that like button. Facebook, like the page, share the post. If you're on podcast, subscribe.
Yeah, man.
If you like the audio-only version. But I don't know why you would listen to the audio-only version when you could watch us here with the beautiful display in the background of over 1,100 bottles of whiskey.
Yeah,
of
and like
booze.
every week, dude, they just keep giving us these delicious fucking bottles of whiskey. It's just crazy.
So good.
And the break-even bottles are crazy here if you want to get a great deal. Like if you are a whiskey nerd.
It's time for you to stop talking. It's time
Moscona
for us to
had
be
never even seen
you're done.
the purple Willet top thing.
You're done. You're done. We're done. That's great. Thanks for being here. See you. Scone and T. Can't wait to be back next week.